This is my beautiful KTM SMCR 690, and these are some reasons as to why I chose this bike over the brand new up and coming SMCR 390. Alright guys, welcome aboard the KTM SMCR 690. This bike is so infamous. It's honestly like an old legend out here, like a folktale. The amount of attention I get on this thing, there's honestly not many of these things out in New Zealand at all. But anyway, that's not what this video is about. I'm here to talk to you guys about why I decided to choose this bike over the upcoming 2025 SMCR 390, because I'm fully aware that is on the way, and that was very much in my line of sight and a deciding factor as to how I ended up with this thing. So I thought about getting the SMCR 390 pretty seriously. Then I was looking at the CRF 300L, I believe it is, the Yamaha 250, but they stopped making those, so that was out of the question. Then I saw a massive deal because KTM is obviously in a bit of the stages of possibly closing down. However, they've just announced they will be saved. But with that meant a massive sale on all of their bikes. The stars aligned. I got this bike for near enough $5,000 off. Brand new. I couldn't really argue with it. Like, I really wanted the 690. It was either this or the Husqvarna 701. But realistically, if you're going to get a Supermoto, you got to go orange. So anyway, Ryan, you are waffling on and you're not giving any good valid reasons as to why you got this over the 390. So let's stop faffing around and I'll give you some reasons as to why. So the obvious reason, of course, is power. I've been a long time owner of a race-tuned Yamaha MT-09, and after riding a 390, no matter what gearing they do and how much they soup it up, it can't be much different than their other 390 variants. And as fun as they are, and as light as it would be, I don't think I'd have realistically have enjoyed doing longer rides on it, or as much as I would on this one, because it's got that little bit more grunt to compensate for bigger roads out here in New Zealand. So I can really sweep into these corners and give it some gas and have overtaking power and all that stuff. So that's reason number one, the power. I just know I wanted a little bit more. And of course, when you ride these things, they are grunty enough, but if you're used to a bigger bike, they are somewhat underwhelming if power is your only metric of a good bike. And that's not to say this thing is slow, don't get me wrong, this thing is fast. For a bike so light, this thing will do 190 kilometers an hour. That's fast enough. But these bikes aren't all about top speed. They're all about torque, fun, and that kind of thing. And I just thought the 390 would leave me wanting more, especially in the torque aspect of things. And as much as I hate to say it, I hate to be that guy, sometimes, if you ask me, bigger really is better. And I know I'm not saying that the 390 won't be fun. It's just, if I could only own one, which is what I would be doing, I would take the bigger boy that can do this any day. So power out of the way, another deciding factor was the cosmetic side of things. I hate to say it, I don't want to do it because this is very subjective. I mean, actually, I can be as subjective as I like. This is my video, and these are my opinions, and these are why I didn't get the 390, so I might as well just be as honest as I can be. So after looking at it a few times, the initial impressions, I thought this bike looks really cool, but then I started to look at it a little bit closer, and I don't know about you guys, but it kind of looks not as much like a Supermoto as I thought. It's got some weird, to me, some weird squarish styling. I don't know if they have done a new frame or anything like that, but just something about it looks a little bit off to me. It looks a little bit too square and maybe a little bit too wide. From what I can see in the pictures, it actually looks a little bit wider than this, which is backwards in my eyes. But yeah, I just didn't really like the look. It was almost like, you know, the Ducati 698 mono thing. They say it's a Supermoto, but it's not really. It's a naked bike disguised as a Supermoto. That's what I thought about the 390. So that really kind of set me back a bit. And then you compare it to the looks of this. This looks like a Supermoto. You look at this and you go, that is a KTM SMCR. Now I think it's going to take some adjusting, of course, because it's a new model anyway. But the 390, I don't think people are going to look at it in that same wow factor as you do with the 690s or these Husky 701s. I could be wrong, that's just my subjective side of it. But there's something about that square look, and the front guard seems really off. I don't know what it is. Like, you guys tell me in the comments if I'm onto something here or I'm just talking out of my ass. I mean, you guys might have different opinions. So that's the whole point of this, and that's the fun of having a comment section, right? So definitely make sure you use it, because I enjoy having those back and forth conversations with you guys. It's a bit of fun, and it does actually open my eyes up to some angles of things that I don't think about, because believe it or not, although I'm just an idiot with a camera, I'm not the guy who knows everything about bikes. I just happen to own one and slap one of these things on and stick videos up for you guys to watch. So before we move on, let me just stick a side-by-side comparison picture of the 690 and the 390, and we can decide which looks better in the comments. Let me know. And I hate to bring it back to power, but when you've got an open road and you open this thing up and you can feel that single cylinder knocking, mate, that is so addictive. Because the cylinder on this, I believe, is 105 millimeters. That's the bore size. That's pretty damn big. Pretty big for a piston, if you ask me. So here's number 3 as well as to why I decided the 390 maybe not for me. But I just feel like it will be a lot smaller in stature. I'm not the shortest guy. I'm about 5'11", 6 foot. I say 5'11". I'm probably scratching the testicles of 6 foot with my non-existent hairline. So either way, do with that what you will. But I'm not very short, and I can only imagine that bike would be a lot smaller. One, because I'm assuming that KTM will want to appeal to a wider audience with this thing, because that whole 390 segment, I mean, realistically appeals to a lot more people. And if they want to capture the market, they're going to want to make it more accessible to as many people as possible. And I just can't see a 390 SMCR being as tall or as robust as this thing right here. I don't know why, that's just my gut feeling. Like I said, none of this has any weight, it's just me going over why I personally just didn't buy one. So with it having a smaller engine, a smaller stature, frame, all of that stuff, it's just going to be a lot lighter, which of course is good for someone out there. That is a really good appealing concept, and I'm sure they're going to capture the market of newer riders, because Supermotos do have their little place where if you like them, you really like them. So they're going to sell, I think they will sell like hotcakes. But for me, I think it will just be too small and too light, because as fun as they are, I think when something's that light, especially in the shape of a Supermoto, I think it really needs to be like a 2-stroke, or it really has to be like a die-hard dirt bike converted, like a WR450 or something, just to compensate for the lightness. Then it would feel like an absolute animal. And just lastly, tying it all back in, coming back to that would be the sound, because like I said, the bore is so big, the piston is so large, it has a deeper, throatier vibe to it. So when you really get on the gas on these things, hits hard, so it feels like you're on something grunty. Whereas the 390, I think, won't have that impact. An exhaust on these is so much deeper. And speaking of exhausts, if you haven't already, make sure you check out my build series I'm doing on this bike. But either way, you can watch part 1 all the way through, where we go from just cosmetics all the way through to open this thing up with a fuel dongle and an exhaust. And at some point, if we haven't done it already, I will be getting this fully ECU remapped, a bigger open air box, and giving this thing all of the power it deserves and making it the bike it should have been from factory. I will post a link to that somewhere up here. So there you have it, dudes. That's pretty much my main thoughts off the top of my head. I'm sure there's more to it, but let me know what you think down below in the comments. And we are yet to see when the bike comes out. Maybe when it comes out, I'll test ride one and compare it back to back. That's what we're going to do when they finally make it here in New Zealand. We're going to ride them back to back. Does it deserve the SMCR title? I don't know, little 390. I'm very skeptical. I know that sounds very biased, and I'm trying not to be. I just don't know if the 390 can hold its weight. Actually, do you know what? Just to flip that argument on its head, maybe the 390 will hold its weight a lot better, because it is smaller and a lot more friendly when it comes to trails and things like that. That could be a good argument for the 390. But of course, I am more of a street rider, so the 690 it is for me. Like I said, you guys let me know your thoughts below. Thank you guys for watching as always, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm out of here.